Work can be tough, but you don't have to figure it out alone. We're here to help for coaching, workshops, or just a smart second opinion. Let's talk. Contact hello@artemisapac.com. We're Artemis, and we get it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the Artemis APAC podcast. Subject to approval, where we unpack the issues and challenges facing agencies, clients, and individuals and leaders. So I'm Steve McGuinness, writer, trainer, speaker. I was recently described as a professional human being, and I have no idea what that meant, but I'm not sure if it's a compliment, but I kind of liked it. So today we're going to be talking about something deceptively simple, but massively important. So the question is, why has everyone stopped talking? And how that is quietly breaking your team and limiting your business. So have you wondered why everything now takes 5 emails, 3 WhatsApp chains, multiple Google Docs, when in fact a 2-minute conversation would have solved it? If you're thinking that, then this is the episode to you. So let's dive straight in. Why are we now messaging instead of talking? Why have we retracted so far from human interaction? Well, strangely, we live in the most connected era in human history when it is just so easy to reach out and connect with people, yet most of us are becoming averse to and avoiding human contact. Now, there's some, like most behaviors, most things we do, there's good reasons for it. So why are we shying away from face-to-face videos or even calls with each other? Well, there's a number of reasons. There's cultural, there's psychological. I think to a degree there's some generational and even corporate reasoning for this. Okay, so first of all, it feels safer. Messaging gives us time to craft that perfect reply. It gives us some emotional distance. It allows us the ability to avoid awkwardness or confrontation. It's communication with a safety net. It's like a live conversation, but without any risk. Text feels a bit like an armor that's protective for us. What else? Well, it feels efficient. We think we're saving time by messaging rather than speaking. But in reality, it doesn't save us time. We have multiple back and forths. We have slow decision making. We have double checking. We have triple checking. So we have the illusion of speed, but not the reality. There's also another, but people don't like being judged or recorded. They don't have the ability to redo something that's been sent out. Once it's gone, it's gone. Once a conversation's had by email, it's gone. People fear saying the wrong thing. They worry about tone. They worry about spontaneity. They fear misspeaking. Typing feels more controlled and talking feels more exposed. And we've lost the habit. You know, just like any muscle, communication is a skill, and if you don't use it, it atrophies. But if you use it, it grows stronger. And if you haven't been on a proper call or a face-to-face conversation professionally in weeks, it feels hard. It feels heavy. Messaging is default because the brain doesn't like friction. It wants ease. It wants familiarity, and boop, boop, boop is easy and familiar. There is, I think, to an extent, I mean, not a huge generalized point, a generational difference. I think Gen Z prefers digital. It's what they've grown up with. It's what they know. Millennials are feeling overwhelmed, and emails and WhatsApps and Slacks give the illusion of brevity. And I think Gen X and boomers, you know, we don't want to intrude. We think if we call somebody, we'll interrupt them from what they're doing. An email, people can look at their convenience. So why does all those factors net out? Well, we get a workplace that nobody knows whether or not anyone else would prefer to talk. We're all on the assumption that it's faster, easier, simpler, less intrusive, when in fact it's probably not. And you know, to whether we're working a small business or a huge multinational giant, there are a lot of organizations, a lot of systems that value process. They want accountability, they want tracking. So they encourage written updates. Written work, global time zones, a love of documentation. Companies are unintentionally or intentionally pushing people to stay behind their keyboards. Live interaction becomes special occasions only when it used to be the norm. So what's the impact of that? What has this loss of talking done to us? Well, I would argue it's not just inconvenient and time-consuming and and dehumanizing. I'd say it's harmful. It's harmful to the relationships. It's harmful to creativity, speed, trust, and to a degree even mental health. As mentioned, it slows everything down. What could be a 2 or 3 minute call becomes 3 hours of texts. We're producing more words, but we're understanding less. The other point is relationships become shallower. We lose tone, we lose humor, we lose warmth, we lose connection. These all just vanish over text. You can't build trust with emojis. You need voices, you need faces, you need laughter, you need mistakes, you need discussions, you need fumbles. Teams may end up at the end of a huge, WhatsApp, email, Slack exchanges. They end up aligned on paper, but disconnected in reality. The other key factor, this is a direct impact on the bottom line, miscommunication skyrockets. When you're simply messaging, you lose tone. So there's the opportunity to misread intentions. We make assumptions, we fill in the gaps. We often have emotional overreaction because we're reading things at face value and interpreting them in a way that suits or doesn't suit us without having that text and that context and that tone. We can build up imagined defense. We can build up imagined agreement. So we spend more time cleaning up those misunderstandings than actually moving forward. And then, as mentioned, it's become the norm, it's become a safety net, it's become an armor, and we think that messaging is less stressful than face-to-face. I would argue it actually creates more anxiety and more stress because you're waiting for that response. You're sitting in that silence, you're overthinking about what the other person might be doing, you're rereading what you've sent, you're catastrophizing the reaction to what you've just been sent over. In fact, the person might not even have read it yet. So we fill this gap that wouldn't exist if it was a face-to-face or a call. We like certainty, but messaging gives the opposite most of the time. And then it goes without saying, creativity collapses. Creativity, as famously said, is a contact sport. We bounce off each other. It's spontaneous tangents. It's facial expressions. It's shared excitement. Messaging's too functional. It's not generative. It doesn't create. It doesn't make that spontaneous leap. It doesn't allow people to become more than the sum of the parts. The magic doesn't happen over email. It happens in a room with flip charts and paper and conversations, or over a call with people bouncing around off each other. And then lack of talking weakens leadership. You can't lead a team through text. Leaders need presence, they need tone, they need empathy, they need authority. And these are carried through voice, body language, connection, not through messaging. So, why it's happening? What the impact of this? How do we overcome it? How do we get people? How do you get talking? How do our teams get talking? How do client and agencies get talking? How do we get talking again? Well, actually, it's relatively simple. We could fix it fast. It's about habits, it's about shifts, and it's about expectations. So personally, I try to use a 90-second rule. If it's going to take me longer than 90 seconds or 2 minutes to type out a message, I call. And if everybody knew that rule and everybody respected that, if it's going to be more than 2 minutes to write it and then more than 5 minutes, I'm going to call you up. Ask for the call. Don't force it. A simple line in an email. Got a quick one for you. Can we talk for 2 minutes? It feels considerate. It's not intrusive. It's not presumptive. It allows that door to open, but shows clearly your intent that you want to engage. Build regular live rhythms. Build it into the schedule. Build it into the practices. Build it into expectations. So a weekly 15-minute catch-up. Cameras on Fridays. Nobody turns their camera off during calls. 5-minute morning stand-up or virtual stand-up. Make talking normal. Normalize face-to-face. Normalize video call. Normalize getting together for a conversation. And then leaders must model. There's no point in telling your teams to do this if you don't do it yourself. People look at our actions, not at our instructions. So call your team instead of messaging. Show up face-to-face. Resolve conflicts live. Build small talk in. And then what you do as a leader, other people will follow. And that cascades through the organization. Last couple of points. I think there's something around creating team norms, not rules, nothing black and white, but just norms. The clear and expected practices like no long debates by text. If something feels emotional, we talk. If clarity is missing, we pick up the phone. If there's disagreement, we get face to face. And the norms and expectations remove the awkwardness and become a new default. And then rebuild confidence in communication. I mean, we do a fantastic communications course, obviously, but give people practice. So it's micro conversations, tiny check-ins, short calls. Confidence grows fast with preparation and repetition. The more we do it, the more we get into the habit of preparing the right way and being ready and confident, then the higher our skill set grows, and then the more confident we are in doing it. So that's the challenge, and that's the opportunity. The world is messaging more, but thinking and feeling less. We're creating speed on the surface, but causing problems and friction underneath. So let's rebuild this good old-fashioned habit of talking, and then we rebuild trust, we rebuild clarity, we rebuild creativity, culture, and just the invisible superpower of human connection. And at the end of the day, we look for revenue, we look for profitability, we look for a competitive edge. In a world increasingly being run by AI, algorithms, and automation, being human could be our and your biggest competitive edge. So, thanks for listening. If you found it useful, share it with somebody you think would benefit. Or better yet, call them up and tell them about it. I'm Stephen McGuinness. This is Subject to Approval from Artemis APAC. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to talk to you. Speak to you soon. This is Subject to Approval, where we dive into the chaos, challenges and curveballs of today's business and agency world. No jargon, no waffle, just fast, fearless conversations about what's breaking and what's working in your business today.